Hi guys, my name is Baxter. I'm an accredited practicing dietitian and online physique coach, and the recipe that I'm going to go through with you today is one that I have shared before. However, it is a new and improved version, and obviously something that I'm big on is going back and trying to do better and look for ways to make things tastier or better in macros. The feedback that I've had from my first ebook was that this particular recipe is quite high protein, of course, and therefore when you bake this particular slice, it is a little dry or not quite the same texture as the normal macro counterpart. So this chocolate fudge brownie that I'm making today, I have changed up the ratios, and hopefully it is going to give you an even better taste, and you'll be able to enjoy this to its full potential. So stay tuned and let's check it out. All right, so the old recipe for this chocolate fudge brownie has a slightly lower amount of sweet potato and a little bit higher whey protein isolate. So this time around, I'm actually reducing the amount of whey protein that I'm putting into this recipe. So subsequently, the protein content is coming down a little bit and the carbs are going up marginally. But I think that for the small sacrifice or increase in carbohydrates, it actually has such better taste and mouthfeel. So let's go through the recipes, ingredients for this new chocolate fudge brownie, and then I'll show you exactly what we're going to do to make this work. So the key ingredient will be sweet potato. So I'm using a mixture of white sweet potato and orange sweet potato, but you can use any variety that you like. For the flours, or to help bind everything together, we're going to be using a coconut flour. 50 grams of coconut flour is going in, and then we have 1 serving of protein powder. Now previously I was using 90 grams or 3 servings, so that's the key difference in this particular recipe, reducing the protein content. For the other dry ingredients, we're going to be using some cocoa powder, 15 grams of cocoa powder. To keep it nice and sweet, I've got some sweetener. This is sucralose. I'm using the powdered version. It just helps to bind the recipe together. If we used a liquid sweetener, it's not adding any volume to the cake or to the slice. So the main reason I choose that powdered stevia is to help kind of expand and give it some volume. And then lastly, I'm going to be putting in some of these semi-sweet, lovely, delicious chocolate chips for some decoration. And then for all of the liquids, I'll go through these last. I'm going to be using 75 mils of egg beaters or egg whites. It's up to you, depending on where you are located in the world. You might not have access to egg beaters, so egg whites is totally fine. I'm going to be using some kind of reduced fat butter or margarine, so I'm going to be using 80 grams of the favorite. I use it in everything because it's the best on the market so far. So 80 grams of melted butter. The recipe in my previous ebook calls for rice malt syrup, but today I'm using this raw agave syrup or nectar, and 100 mils of this goes in, and it's just giving it a nice sweet taste. And that's mainly because I don't actually have any sugar in this household, so we're going to use something else that's sweet, and this will also help bind it together. We then need some vanilla essence, so 1 teaspoon, and then the last key ingredient, I'm actually going to be using some of this hazelnut flavoring. So if you think about a rich chocolatey flavor, a lot of time recipes will call for either coffee to do this, to bring out the flavor, or in this case, some kind of nut. So this hazelnut essence is going to be like the key ingredient, I think, when it comes to popping those chocolate flavors. To start with, I'm going to preheat the oven at 380 degrees Celsius, and Fahrenheit, and we're going to be baking this for around 30 minutes. I'm going to start by peeling the sweet potatoes and then just chopping them into small pieces. So I've got about 1 litre of water in there for this amount of sweet potato, and then we'll cook those for about 10 to 15 minutes or until they soften. So while the sweet potato is cooking through, I'm going to put together some of the wet and the dry ingredients. So protein powder going in first, cocoa powder, stevia, or in this case sucralose for sweetening. I'm just going to combine that together. I'm going to take 80 grams of this reduced fat butter or margarine and just melt it for about 30 seconds in the microwave. Pour that melted butter. Add in the 75 mils of egg whites, vanilla essence, and 100 mils. So give that a good mix. Coconut flour. Okay guys, so I have just drained off all of the boiling water from the sweet potato, and I'm going to put it into the food processor and just pulse it lightly so that we can get some of this broken up. Transfer the sweet potato into the chocolate ingredients. Look at that. I wish I could just eat these right now, but they're gonna have to go in the cake. So I'm just gonna sprinkle in some of these delicious semi-sweet chocolate chips. So this recipe is going to make 8 servings. So I'm just taking some of these individual ramekins. So I could make this in a sliced tray if I wanted to, but I'm actually going to serve this up for dinners. So yeah, 8 individual ramekins, spraying each lightly, and then we're going to divide the mixture out evenly. Okay, it's gonna be super hot. It's delicious. I've got it. This is the one. Thanks so much for watching, guys. So the macronutrient breakdown for these single serve chocolate fudge brownies are pretty good. We're looking at 7.5 grams of protein, 8.5 grams of fat, which I think is awesome for a brownie. Usually these are stacked full of like regular eggs, tons of butter, and they're just generally a high fat product. So we've certainly done well to get rid of all of the fats in this recipe, and the carbohydrates are 28.5. So if you wanted to be able to make these lower in carbohydrate, you can. You would just reduce the amount of sweet potato that's used and whatever your sugar syrup is. So I was using the agave nectar, or my original recipe calls for rice malt syrup. You can just pull that back a little bit and then add your sweetness by using your sweetener of choice. So in this recipe, I use the sucralose. So you can modify it and play around with the ratios to get it to the macros that you need for your macronutrient targets. My macros have gone up very recently, so I'm actually not too fussed the fact that this is a little bit higher in carbohydrate, because I have that flexibility now with my diet. So kudos to me for starting my reverse diet, which is awesome. If you're not following me along or subscribed to my channel, please do. I'm going to put the subscribe button up here for you on the left. If you're interested in learning more about my macro-friendly recipes, I do have an ebook available on my website, so I'll put the links up for here for you now, so you can check that out. And also follow me along on my reverse dieting story. You can head to my YouTube channel and check in my nutrition articles page. And learn about how to set up a reverse diet, and amongst other things. So there's heaps of information on there that you can learn and apply it to yourself so that you can actually get ahead with your fitness and health goals. Thanks again, and stay tuned for next time.